Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Raha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have taught us this truth and rule well. Peace and salutations to the chosen and the elect. This is Ariel Zabak out of the GMS Dallas camp. And this lesson here, it's here, okay? This devil's enterprise, starting with the top banking family, the elites, all right? In this clip that I'm going to play, this is all going into, what's happening in the news and being watchmen, as we're commanded to do to warn the sheep, okay, and also feed the sheep. So in the UK, they done rolled out the digital ID, okay, getting them started, letting it be voluntarily, and then also, there are debates on if you don't take it, you won't be able to, you won't be able to work, okay. You don't get the digital ID, you don't have no job. So it's kind of like forcing it on you, all right? So we at that place where the line is being drawn, you're going to have to pick a side, all right? And these prophecies, okay, as they continue to, come to pass, which we're about to get into, all right? That time is here, man. You see? Let's get an article real quick. Let's get this here. This is the digital digital ID in the UK, and it reads: the UK is rolling out a voluntarily smartphone-based digital ID scheme to streamline access to public and private services such as welfare. Okay, and that's for you so-called Jakes, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are the true Hebrew Israelites, man. Okay, that we use Jake for Jacob as short, man. All right. So, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, this welfare, child care, and age verification. You see? So that's who they targeting first, which are you Jakes. Okay. Our people. All right. So that welfare and feeding you and keeping you on that little leash. Okay. These are the ones, okay, that's unprotected, man. Okay. That's why it's so important that our people repent. You see, because you're gonna get caught up into this trap, that this snare that the devil have for you. All right. And it reads: stored directly on your phone, it will eventually become mandatory for right to work checks to combat illegal immigration by the end of the current parliament. All right. So here are some of the key details of the scheme. We're not going to read all of it. It's voluntary usage. Okay. The overarching app and digital ID are optional to use, though the government plans to require for mandatory right to work employment checks. All right. So, this is really where it's heading down the rabbit hole. Right now, they bringing it out. Probably going to try to get the kinks and the bugs out of it. Okay. But this is what's getting ready to happen, man. And this was prophesied, you see. Let's get Isaiah. All right. Let's get Isaiah chapter 60. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 1. Okay. And it reads: arise, shine, for thy light is come. Okay. And that light is this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All right. And the glory of Yahweh is risen upon thee. And what is that glory going into? The understanding of this book. Okay. These prophecies. You see. And this is for the elect. All right. You see. Verse 2. And it reads: for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth. All right. And, the word darkness in this verse here is like a representation of ignorance, man, because this is what the people are, man. All right. Without this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, you're in darkness, man, in ignorance. All right. Verse 2 again, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. And when you go into that word gross, it's like the masses. All right. Let's get that real quick. All right. This is Hebrew. The root word here. Ara. Salakia. Tazara. Tazara. Okay. That's the root word. And it means to drop, to drip, to drop, trickle down. Okay. A prominent root, to droop, hence to drip, to drop down. Okay. Let's go back. And here it means cloud, heavy, or dark cloud, darkness, gross darkness, thick darkness. Let's get that word gross, see if I can pull that up real quick. Let's get the definition of that web search. Yeah, we can go to Google. Okay. Kal Halal Yahabashim Yahushua 144. You see? Kal Halal Yahabashim Yahushua 144,000. Wow. 144. Kal Halal Yahabashim Yahushua. I had to say that 3 times. Man. Let me pull up the definition. What does the word gross mean? Something that's highly disgusting, repulsive, or unpleasant to look at, touch, or smell. Basic meaning word gross has few other distinct uses depending on the context. Show more. Conversation, it means that's terrible. No, that's not what we're looking for. So this is what I'm looking for here. In business, accounting, taxes, gross means the total amount, okay? Which means the mass, all right? So let's go back to Isaiah 60, verse 2, and it reads, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, which is ignorance, all right? And gross darkness, meaning that gross mass, okay? A gross amount, a large amount of people, all right, that's in that mindset, all right? Because this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is given to the men of the Lord, you see? So that gross darkness is in their minds, okay? That's why you got to get rid of the old man, you see? So when you come into this truth, okay, you renewed by your mind. So people are still in this mindset where they are ignorant of what this devil about to do. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, okay, laying this snare with this digital ID, which is going to usher in the New World Order, okay, and he's going to usher in that RFID micro C-hip, you see. And it reads, but Yahweh shall arise upon thee, okay. And how is he going to do that? And his glory shall be seen upon thee, okay. And that's that rising upon thee is us, okay? With this word going out, you see? The men of the Lord, the elect, okay? Now let's get 1 Thessalonians, all right? Before we go into this video, you see, we're going to start from, we're going to get chapter 5, and we'll start from verse 4. And it reads, okay, because we went into that gross darkness. But in 1 Thessalonians 5 and 4, it reads, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, okay? This is the men of the Lord, okay? You brothers, sincere brothers and sisters that are out there, okay? But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief, okay? So that's the day of the Lord. That's the day that it's going into when Yahweh shall return. All right. Verse 5, ye are all the children of light. Okay. And the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness, because we're not ignorant. We got these prophecies. Okay. We got this understanding, the truth. We know who Esau Edom is. Okay. We know he's the wicked. You see? We know what this devil, what the prophecy says, man. Okay. We understand what Revelation 13 and 16 is going into. Okay. We know that's the micro C hip. Okay. He calls it all. You see? Verse 6, therefore let us not sleep as do others, which are those that are in darkness, but let us watch and be sober. Okay, watching what? These prophecies, man. Okay, you see, we're going to get that in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Verse 7, for they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and a helmet for the hope. And a helmet, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation. Okay, and that's through Yahweh Shai, man. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this this clip here. It's a little lengthy, but it goes in.
When governments in the West find a new tool that they like, that tool tends to spread, first to allies, then to partners, and eventually to Washington. And that's why tonight we're talking about the United Kingdom's plan to roll out a national digital ID system, a program that some supporters call modernization, but critics call it something else entirely. They call it dystopian.
My ministers will also proceed with the introduction of digital ID that will modernize how citizens interact with public services.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
So you heard it there. King Charles says the move is to modernize. The British Prime Minister is going further, making it very clear the plan, if it moves forward as described, provides that your right to work will require a digital ID. No question about it. No digital ID, no job. That's the policy. So what exactly is a digital ID? Well, the government says it will be a secure credential stored on your phone. It will contain your name, your date of birth, your photo, your nationality, or residency status. And it will be used to verify who you are when accessing government services, opening accounts, applying for benefits, and more. Supporters say it will reduce fraud. It will streamline government services, that it will make life so much easier, right? But the question isn't what the system is supposed to do. The question is, what could it become? Because if we've learned anything over the last 30 years, it's that government programs always expand. The Patriot Act, right? It was supposed to target terrorists. FISA surveillance was supposed to have limits. Emergency powers were supposed to be temporary. And yes, somehow, those programs never seem to shrink. They only grow. And that's why some of the loudest critics of this plan are asking questions that governments are not eager to answer. Questions like this: how much will this actually cost? We heard it's free, but nothing's actually free. How much money will it actually save? What evidence exists that it will achieve any goals? And perhaps most importantly, what happens when the purpose of the system expands?
At the moment, they're denying. There was a figure, I think, a couple of months ago. Some body around Parliament said maybe 1.8 billion or something for it, and the government said no, that's not our figure. Last time we found, they claimed it was, I can't remember, it was going to be between 1.5 and 3 billion quid. And the London School of Economics did an analysis of what they'd actually written down in the bill and what that would cost, and they came up with a figure closer to 20 billion quid over 10 years. Yeah, and that sort of thing is what does grab the public attention when our public services are stretched very thin. We've come through a decade or more of austerity. 20 billion on a...
How can you make a case for that?
Is crazy.
Yeah, you heard it right there. The UK is allocating 20 billion for digital IDs, but they don't actually know yet whether or not the benefits will outweigh the costs. There's been little to no research into the matter, and yet the train, it's already leaving the station. That should make you pause. Because once a national digital ID system exists, it doesn't just verify who you are, it becomes the gatekeeper. A key, and keys, sure, they can open doors, they can also lock them. There's another concern here that digital rights advocates keep raising, right? They say the real issue isn't the ID itself. It's what happens when that ID becomes connected to government databases, or worse, to a government app that follows you everywhere you go. Listen.
The thing to be really aware of is what I refer to as government code on your phone. Yeah, it is no longer having to issue physical ID card like they tried to do in the 2000s over here. It's not like in Estonia even, which has got a modern sort of ID system which they deliver via cards as well as on computers. Watch out for a government app or a government wallet that does things differently than the standard Google, Apple, or other types of commercial wallets on your phone. Those sorts of things are where, again, they can sneak in things like they're trying to do here. Like every time you use your ID in the UK, it's going to dial home. It's going to create a record of your ID being checked, and that builds a lifelong dossier of everything that you do.
The lifelong dossier. You see, what starts as a convenient way to prove who you are can quickly become a system that records everything you do. And once those records exist, the question becomes, who has access to them? How long are they stored? And what might they be used for in the future? See, think about a world that we're already building. Facial recognition cameras everywhere you go, AI-powered surveillance, centralized government databases, digital currencies. Individually, each of these programs is sold as a tool of convenience. Individually, each one is a problem in and of itself. But together, they become something that's almost unmanageable.
If we expand on that, let's look at a broader picture here, which is things like facial recognition being rolled out up and down Great Britain. You've got one login, which is forcing company directors to basically lose your company unless you sign up to the first form of digital ID, which is one login. You've got some kind of a structure and form of a social credit system kind of on the horizon.
A social credit system. Now look, is the UK about to become China? Well, no, not necessarily. That's not what any person is saying at this point. That doesn't mean that the comparison is useless, because the question isn't whether Britain is China. The question is whether or not Western governments are adopting the same tools that they complain that China uses on its own people. Tools that allow authorities to track and eventually control access to essential parts of daily life. That's the real concern here. Not what the system is today, what the system will inevitably be tomorrow. Listen to this warning here from a former member of parliament.
If you say yes to digital ID, you'll never be able to say no to your government ever again. And that's where they want us. So we will be completely controllable. And then it won't matter what we say, what we think, because we won't be able to do anything.
That line is worth repeating. If you say yes to digital ID, you won't be able to say no to your government moving forward.
See? All right? And this is what, the prophet's been saying, starting with our apostles, bishops, and elders on down here at Great Millstone, okay, about this micro C-HIP, man, in Revelation 13 and 16. You see? Let's go ahead and just read that real quick. This is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. And it reads, and he, okay, calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, okay, in their right hand or in their foreheads, all right? And that mark, that word charagma, all right? Let's go ahead and get that. See, that charagma, a stamp or imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge as the followers of the Antichrist. And we know that Antichrist, there's many Antichrist, which is anti-Christians, whatever you want to call it. But we know that this thing, other definition says thing, carved, sculpture, or graven work, okay, of idolatrous images. All right, so this mark is going to be implanted, and we already seen it, the micro C-HIP, RFID. The only thing you got to do is look it up, okay? So this is why it's so important, that they got all these data centers, okay, all over the nation, okay, that's going up, because this is what it's going to run. The data center is going to be the engine that run this micro C-HIP, man, where they can calculate all this data, all right? Because there's a lot of people on earth, man. All right. Because this is a global order, new world order. It's not just, in the United States or just in China or just in the UK. This devil trying to make this a new world order, the way it's gonna they can have track and control you globally, man. Okay, but Yahweh Shai, he's gonna stop all of that, man, and that's what the day of the Lord is about. That's why these wars are happening, are going on and taking place over there in the east with Iran. Okay, you still got Russia and Ukraine. Okay, so you know these prophecies are speaking. All right, and this new world order, okay, going into Revelation 13 and 16 is for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man, because this devil got a plan. Let's get that in Psalms. All right, this is Psalms chapter 83, and we're going to just go right to the point. Verse 4, verse 5. Well, we start from verse 4, and it reads, "They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation." So all of these nations, these countries, they in cahoots with each other, man, on bringing Israel to remembrance no more. That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And how they planning on doing that? Okay, it's through this new world order with that micro C help. You see, for they have consulted together with one consent. That's why you don't have a seat in NATO, EU. Okay, when they coming together about the world, the issues of the world. Okay, Jake, because we in the hands of our we're in captivity in the hands of our enemies, man. You see, this is the reason why Yahweh Shai has to come back and return and deliver us, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are the true Hebrew Israelites, but the elect out of the nation of Israel, he's coming back to deliver. You see, Yahweh Shai, big brother. You all right? So let's go to Habakkuk. Let's Habakkuk go into this, man. This is Habakkuk. Let me get that. Yeah, that's Habakkuk, chapter 2, and we'll start from verse 1. And it reads, "I will stand upon my watch," and that's what the prophets are doing, man. How we doing that? And set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me. And how is he doing that? Through the scriptures. All right. This wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the 100% truth, man. Sound doctrine. All right. And what I shall answer when I am reproved. All right. And that's it. That's just really going into what we need to teach. Okay. While we're out there on the highways and byways. Verse 2. "And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it." Okay. And this is when we're out in the streets teaching. You see, that's the reason why we upload videos on social media. Okay. So our people can hear this word and repent, be ye converted. Okay. And start doing the work, man. All right. Because Yahweh Shai is returning, man. We here. All right. This thing is going to start moving quick. And Yahweh Shai already said it himself. You know, he's going to have to shorten the days. The day's going to have to be shortened, or no flesh will be saved. Okay. So we in those times right now. Verse 3, and it reads, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." All right. And that means it's happening now. All right. We don't got to say, man, this, that micro C hip and the RFID, the RFID micro C hip is, that's the MOTB. Okay. We don't have to have that discussion no more. It's here. We see it. Okay. This is why that digital ID has to be, issued first. Okay. That's just the blueprint. All right. And let's get verse 4 to end it here. "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him." And we know that's Esau Edom, man. Okay, because he was created to be the wicked. You see, he's that vessel in Romans the 9th chapter, that vessel of dishonor, and Jacob is the vessel of honor. You see, but the just shall live by faith. The elect, man. okay? The one who's singing that new song, all right? The one that's telling our people, you know, that Jacob trouble is here, man. This is Jacob's trouble. You see? You got Jacob's trouble that we're currently in, okay? It hadn't heightened up yet. But, you know, through this digital ID, they already saying that, hey, you won't be able to work, man. Okay, so we know this, the line is being drawn, and Babylon the Great is going to be one of the main countries trying to lead it, you see? Through this devil, Esau Edom. And you saw that top elite banking family, man. Okay, that Charles, King Charles or whatever they call him. You see? He's saying that this is their plan. And when you go to Psalms 83, okay, it tells you who your enemies are, and it starts with Esau Edom, the elites, man, top banking families. All right? So, you know, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. And with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ra Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have taught us this truth and rule well. Peace and salutations to the chosen and the elect. Shalom.